told my boyfriend that he can't date younger and then get upset about my budget apartment. My boyfriend Josh is 35 and I'm 22. He asked me out after we kept running into each other at this climbing gym. I had doubts about the age gap, but he seemed normal enough, so I said yes. My apartment is in this old converted house with 4 units. The walls are thin and the floors creak. My upstairs neighbor Kevin leaves for work at 4:30 every morning. The girl next door Angela watches shows until midnight. The other neighbor takes work calls all day. I'm used to all of it. When I have people over, the noise probably bothers them too, so I never complain. Josh started staying over and immediately had problems. First night we went to bed at 10. Around 10:30, Angela's TV was on and he wanted me to text her. I said no, it's not even loud and she'll turn it off by midnight. 4 in the morning, Kevin gets up and makes breakfast. Josh sat up annoyed asking if this happens every day. I said yes, he works at 5. At 7, my other neighbor had a work call. Josh wanted me to knock on her door. I offered earplugs. He said he can't sleep with earplugs and I needed to handle it. Every time he stayed over, someone made noise and he complained. Someone walking upstairs, a door closing, a TV on. He wanted me to fix everything. After 2 weeks, I snapped. I told him you can't date a hot young 22-year-old and then complain about a 22-year-old's apartment. This is normal for my age. My neighbors are great. Nobody throws parties on weeknights. Nobody fights at 3 in the morning. Nobody has screaming babies. He got defensive asking why I made it about age. I said because you can't have both. You can't want someone young and also want someone with house money. You're completely out of touch with how people in their 20s live. He didn't like that but kept complaining anyway. I started responding with okay boomer every time. I told him if he wanted me in a fancy apartment he could pay for it. Then he started asking weird questions. How much was my rent? Was my landlord flexible? How long was my lease? Did I get a good deal? I thought he was making conversation, but he pushed for specific details. One night I came back with food and caught him looking through papers on my desk. He claimed he needed a pen, but my lease agreement was sitting right there and had been moved. I went through his phone while he was in the shower. He'd been looking up studios in my area. He had screenshots of my building's rental page. Then I found texts to his friends saying he could sublet his place for way more than my rent and pocket the difference. He wrote the noise wasn't ideal, but it was temporary. He was planning to move into my apartment, not to be closer, because my rent was $600 and his was $2,000. He wanted to keep his apartment for appearances, but actually live at mine to save money. When I confronted him, he said he was thinking about our future. I said our future where you secretly live in my apartment and lie to everyone. He called me immature and said this is why age gaps don't work. I told him to get out. He argued that I was overreacting and he was just exploring options. I said exploring options means you were planning to use me for cheap rent without asking. He finally admitted his car payment was late and he'd maxed out 2 credit cards. His fancy life was falling apart. The whole time he complained about my neighbors, he was testing if he could actually live there. He wasn't planning to help with rent either. He wanted to crash at my place while keeping his lease active so coworkers thought he still lived somewhere nice. I told him we were done and he needed to leave immediately. He tried saying I was being dramatic over a misunderstanding. I said the misunderstanding was me thinking he had his life together. He grabbed his stuff and left. On his way out, he had the nerve to say I'd regret this when I realized how hard dating was. I said I'd rather be single than be someone's financial backup plan.